everybody, and welcome to another video here on Philly Sports Network. Can you smell that? The rock isn't cooking, but OTAs are on the horizon. We're one step closer to football as the Eagles begin their OTA program starting tomorrow. Now, it will look a little bit different. There will be no 7-on-7 practices, and there are going to be some adjustments made. So Nick Sirianni, in addition to the COVID climate, wants to make sure his players are comfortable. He realizes that, they're not going to probably all attend voluntary workouts for a million reasons, so they've agreed to a slightly augmented schedule. So it won't be as rigorous as normal. There are going to be less in-person practices with a heavier focus on learning from the virtual classroom. But nonetheless, the media will be attending, which means we will get videos, we will get tweets, and we will get our first chance to look at the newest Eagles to the nest. What does that mean? What should we be watching out for in the first string of off-season practices? My name is Liam Jenkins. Here are my 5 things to watch. Before we get started, as always, it would be amazing if you could leave a like and pound that subscribe button. We are almost there, ready for another season of Eagles football, and we would love to have you along for the ride. And if you haven't followed already, my Twitter is at Liam Jenkins PSN. Be cool to have you along. All right, the most pressing thing possible for me right now is who starts at cornerback 2. Now, there have been some whispers, and by whispers I mean a couple tidbits here and there that I've heard through the grapevine, that the Eagles might be eyeing up a trade for a cornerback. But for the time being, it's all hearsay. There's no cemented guarantee they're going to bring in an extra body, and that means that OTAs, those underdogs, are going to be smelling opportunity like sharks smelling blood on the water. This is their first opportunity to go into a new coaching staff who haven't seen those players play before and make an impact and prove that against what is fairly, an eclectic group of wide receivers, including some burners, some speedsters, some red zone weapons. They've got a big variety of talents there that they are ready to handle outside responsibilities opposite Darius Slay. Those names include guys like Michael Jaquette, Craig James. I really like Kayvon Seymour. I did a film room on him not too long ago. I loved what he brought to the table in such a short space of time. I wouldn't write him off, and I feel like my opinion is that the Eagles should absolutely focus on the youth. Let the coaching staff develop these players for a year. We know the Eagles shouldn't realistically be deep playoff contenders, so let the coaching staff shine. Let's see what they can do with these young guys, and if it all goes wrong, there is a lovely corner named Derek Stingley Jr. down the road. However, until then, there is a long way to go, and that means that if the Eagles corners are to tempt the likes of Howie Roseman, who is trawling the NFL trading block looking for an opportunity, that he is ready to go, they have to start running in OTAs. And that goes for even Zach McPherson, the rookie cornerback out of Texas Tech. Drafted as a slot guy. Will we see Avonte Maddox in the slot? Will McPherson start over him? Will one of them move outside? We've seen Maddox do it before and struggle. Will they have more trust in McPherson? We won't get 7-on-7, but we will get 1-on-1 reps, and that is what I'm here for. I want to see, is Seymour going to survive against Smith? Will we see Jalen Reagor manhandled against Michael Jaquette as he tried to do against DeAndre Hopkins? I don't know, but all I do know is if that cornerback group gets absolutely bullied, expect help. If they hold their own, if they can really begin to make some plays and embody this new tone of defense set by Gannon, they might be alright. There's a long way to go till training camp, but keep an eye on those corners and some of the underdogs outside making a name. Next up, it's a pretty obvious one. It's who starts at left tackle, Jordan Mailata or Andre Dillard, and I felt like I've said this a million times this offseason. In the blue corner, you've got Jordan Mailata, someone that was a 7th round pick, a flyer, someone that will sort of never get to this level in the NFL, having never played the sport until like a year before he was drafted, a former rugby player. He has jumped up to the occasion. He stood in for an injured Andre Dillard last year and made the most of the opportunity. He absolutely deserves a starting role, but in the red corner, there is the money in the bank. It is Andre Dillard, a former 1st round pick, coming off a biceps injury and a rookie year where, if we're honest, the opportunities he were given weren't great, I mean, he was thrown to the wolves at right tackle against Seattle, but other than that, held his own against Dallas, looked good against Chicago, looked great against Buffalo. This is gonna be a battle between these two guys, and while we may not see too much in the way, again, of those 7-on-7 battles early on, it'll be in the weight room. It'll be anything you can do, I can do better. It'll be in individual drills. It'll be in pounding the sled. There'll be a lot of opportunities for these two guys to go at it, and we know that behind them, there is some depth looking to come along as well. So a lot of eyes in the trenches. I want to see who gets off to the hottest start out of Dillard and Mailata. Next up is an obvious one. It's all eyes on the rookies. There are a plethora of rookies to watch this year, and none so more tantalizing than Devonta Smith out of Alabama, the 10th overall pick, one of my favorite route runners in quite some time, joins the Eagles, unites with Jalen Hurts, and looks to get set quickly. But even beyond him, there may not be like rookies drafted, but you've got Trayvon Grimes, you've got Jamon Orbson, two guys who could very easily sneak onto this roster. There are a lot of bodies at wide receiver right now, and if they kick 5 or 6 guys, we're going to lose someone substantial. It could be an Arcega-Whiteside. It may end up being a Travis Fulgham, or it may even end up being someone like a Kez Watkins or a John Hightower. There are a lot of guys on the bubble right now that in a new system where versatility, we're getting these different playing styles implemented is key. You're going to be looking for guys to stand out. J-Jaw needs a big offseason, but he's going to be pounded. He's going to be hounded by guys like Trayvon Grimes who have an identical skill set. Elsewhere on the defensive line, you've got players such as Milton Williams out of Louisiana Tech, a 3rd round pick who brings a lot of explosiveness to the table. He is a freak athlete and is going to be looking to really shine in those individual drills where he's like running around the ring. Maybe he's flaunting that explosiveness. I think that's going to be fun to watch. And then you've got players like Jacoby Stevens, late round pick, coming in, changing positions. Is he going to be bulked up? Is he going to be looking good in that linebacker room? Does he look out of place? What are his reflexes like? That's going to be interesting. Of course, you've got the guys in the middle. We know that Landon Dickerson could well be lining up behind Jason Kelsey at center, but with Brandon Brooks currently still rehabbing, will they push him to right guard early on, or instead afford that to a player slightly further down the roster? Maybe a Nate Herbig, someone who has experience. That for me is going to be interesting, with Dickerson himself coming off of a previous injury. Next up, we've got positional changes. I mentioned Jacoby Stevens, who's moving to linebacker. There's one more guy I want to look for here, and that is Jannard Avery. I've been a big Avery guy since the team traded a 4th round pick for him a couple of years ago, and he just hasn't been used. The games he has been, like that time against the New York Jets, absolutely brilliant. The guy looked ruthless. He was explosive coming off the edge, but ever since then, haven't seen much of him. And now there's a lot of depth at defensive end. He's been training all season at linebacker. So where are they going to move him? Strong side or weak side? I doubt it's middle. They're going to move him to that outside spot. But will it be as a stand-up edge rusher, or will they trust him in coverage? Something that he tried to do in Cleveland, and that was what ultimately led to the trade, was that he was more of an edge rusher. He got pushed to linebacker because of a change of scheme, and he wasn't as good. So it's going to be interesting, I think, to see how Jannard Avery adapts, how he really fits in with this new positional group. Does he look like a natural linebacker? I want to keep an eye on that. And finally, there is QB1 himself, Jalen Hurts, who has spent the entire offseason avoiding the rat poison, as he would say, to old coach Nick Saban, and getting to grips with his guys. He hosted a workout out in Texas with some of the wide receivers he'll be working with this year, and now this will be the first time as an Eagle he gets to throw to Devonta Smith. He gets to reunite with all of those teammates from a year ago he's been talking to all offseason. He's gone to Top Golf with Lane Johnson. He's drawn praise from just about every corner of that Eagles locker room for being a natural leader, for going above and beyond for his teammates, for putting in endless work this offseason in his individual craft. We get to see what he can do now with this group. We're expecting a dynamic with Devonta Smith. Who else does he have one with? We saw him feed Greg Ward. We saw him look for those sizable receivers in Alshon Jeffrey. Maybe we see Travis Fulgham or Trayvon Grimes make an impact. But I want to see where Jalen Hurts begins to build that confidence. Like, which receivers does he go to first? Where is he throwing those riskier passes to in coverage? You're not going to see much of it in one-on-ones, but who does he trust? Who does he have the most success with? Which receivers will adapt to him the most? That's what I'm looking forward to. Let me know what you're looking forward to, you guys, down in the comment section below. From myself, Liam Jenkins, we'll be giving you all the OTA coverage you could possibly ask for. There's some film rooms coming. There's a lot of stuff on the way. Make sure you stay locked in. I'll see you soon.